All right, hello everyone. Good morning. I'm going to put this up in my visor, and so I apologize for my hand. And I'm going to let it rest there. I think what you're basically going to be seeing is sort of out the side window. That way you won't get so much of the windshield wipers. As you can see, it's raining pretty well right now. I'm going to attempt to get back on the street here. So bear with me for a moment. But happy March. Today is March 1st. As I mentioned on my Facebook page, and here we go, I do want to try and do March Madness again. So that's a vlog a day. Ooh, so that's the thing. This is not hooked in as it is if you push it forward. So it might be a little jumpy. Alright, we'll try it. That's going to be really jiggly. Okay, I might have to just push you forward and have you look out the front of the car while we go along here. Yeah, I think that's going to be too jiggly. Okay, so here we go. We're going to try and take you out the front. Alright. Hopefully that's a little less jiggly. I probably have to speak a little louder too, but, you know, I'm in my car. There's nobody with me. So yeah, so I want to try and do a vlog a day. You know, at least 6 a week. You know, I can't say I'll be able to do one every day. And just talk about a variety of topics in the month of March. And I will caveat that with saying that I am going to be teaching kind of an intensive class the last week of March. It's a class that students can take a special English test, and they have to come to my class 6 hours a day for 5 days in a row. So that might be where I stop making vlogs. That's around March 23rd. But at least, you know, maybe 3 weeks of solid vlogs in March, just for fun, because I'm on spring vacation and don't have a lot else to do. Obviously, sumo starts a week from today, and I'll do my sumo banzuke rundown today or tomorrow. So if you're a sumo fan, look for the sumo channel for that. And the actual basho starts next Sunday, the 8th of March. Why am I out driving in the rain today on a Sunday morning, you ask, at 8:30 in the morning? The theater I go to, which is far away, is running some old movies from time to time, and it's only 1,000 yen. It's kind of a cheaper ticket. And the movie they're showing for this 2-week period is called From Here to Eternity. It's a fairly famous World War II movie. And then the movie American Sniper, which has made a lot of money in America, opened in Japan this weekend. So I thought it would be kind of an interesting double bill. And if you go on the 1st of the month, which today is March 1st, the tickets for regular movies are also 1,000 yen. So I can kind of see 2 movies today, double feature for about the price that I normally spend on one movie. But they only show the old movie in the morning from 10 a.m. to noon. So I had to get up pretty early today, get on the road here to get to the movie theater by 10 a.m. for the first film in my double feature. What do I want to talk about in this first vlog? Well, I've decided I'm going to make 4 vlogs about Japanese, learning Japanese, the language. And I'm going to talk about the 4 facets that, you know, you normally talk about when you talk about learning any language, which is reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So if you're not really interested in learning Japanese, you know, these next few vlogs may not be of stellar interest to you, but hopefully you'll come back and check out the other vlogs I've got going this month. So this first one, I guess apropos of the fact that you're not seeing my face and you're just listening while I'm driving along, I was going to talk about listening. And this is probably the area of my Japanese from the amount that I had when I first came in 2004, you know, 10 years ago, that has improved the most. undoubtedly, I would think most Jets and people that come over with limited Japanese and stay here for even just a year or two would say their listening is the thing that really improves. I've said this before, but there's new people that watch the channel, so I'll go over briefly. When I came and started my first year as an ALT in rural Shimane, Japan in 2004, I had taken Japanese for 1 year in college. I got my degree at UCSD, the University of California in San Diego. I had a Japanese woman, a Japanese native as my professor, all 3 quarters where I studied Japanese. We also had kind of an ALT, really, almost. We had a young girl who was probably a college student, probably 21, 22, who led a discussion group, the second and third quarters, where you would go. And the goal was to only speak Japanese in that class. And then there was a lecture where you would do drills and do partner work and learn, grammar. And of course, there were tests and everything. So I did that for a year. I didn't get good grades in it. Ironically, I didn't even know when I first signed up for it, I didn't even know that I was going to go and become a Jet. I had just decided to minor in Japanese studies. I'd always been fascinated with Japan and always wanted to come and visit, but I didn't even know about the JET program when I started that program. But anyway, so I took Japanese for a year. So what do you learn after about a year? Well, you learn the hiragana and the katakana. You learn a handful of kanji. You learn your basic, des grammar, deshita, arimasen deshita, etc. So I had a little bit of a leg up on Jets who knew nothing when they arrived. I knew how to say hajimemashite and yoroshiku onegaishimasu and arigatou gozaimasu and pronounce them, vaguely close to how you're supposed to pronounce them. But I certainly was unprepared for being immersed in the language 24/7. And when you come to rural Japan, you also don't have, there are no English language newspapers sitting around. There are no magazines. Most people don't have cable. You might have 5 TV channels. CNN and stuff like that in English is not usually one of them. The English that you can hear and read is very limited. That's changed a little bit, of course. And now with the internet being the way it is, you're not as isolated as you once were. So, but it's still, true to the extent that, I'm going to go to a big mall in a big city today to watch the movie I'm going to watch. But if I went to the bookstore there, they would have almost no English language books, 0 English language magazines to buy. You might find 1 English language newspaper, which would be a Japanese newspaper in English. You wouldn't find like the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, the London Times. Anyway, so listening. I would say, the thing that's improved the most is listening. If I stand in the staff room, now at my job, I'm still very shy about speaking Japanese, and I'll get to that more when I talk about speaking. But I can stand there and listen to the conversation, and in context, if I know what we're talking about, in general, I can follow along. I'm still not good enough to where I would go see a Japanese movie at a theater, because it wouldn't have subtitles, and be confident that I could really follow it along well enough to really know what's going on, and be getting every meaning of every line of dialogue. Natural conversation can move pretty fast, as it does in movies and TV shows, and they're obviously not going to stop and repeat for me because I'm learning. So that can be harder. But in general, I am surprised at how well I can listen and understand. My ability to respond is not as good. So I think that's the one thing that you will be able to count on improving when you get here. If you take a test like the JLPT and there's a listening section, that I generally would say your marks will go up after you've stayed here a while. And I think that's only natural, just because you're going to hear Japanese all the time. But I was watching Mully's channel the other day, Warmoth Strat, and he was talking about some jobs he'd had, and he said his Japanese really got better when he got a job working in a Japanese factory, at an old TDK factory, loading, on the loading dock, putting pallets of boxes of cassette tapes into trucks and stuff, because all his coworkers were Japanese. Oh, here we're going to go into a tunnel, sorry. And he had to speak Japanese to his coworkers, if he wanted to be understood. And so I have not really been put in a situation like that yet. Both of my jobs have been centered around me teaching English and having English-speaking coworkers around if I really needed help, and having students that are interested in speaking to me in English. So I haven't really had to use Japanese, except in my day-to-day. And, we'll talk about this when I talk about speaking, but in those situations, you can get to a level where you can get by. But my listening has really improved, and I am very thankful that when, I'm overhearing conversation now, it's not just white noise. I can pick out what people are talking about. I can follow along fairly well if somebody's explaining something, like I said, especially if I know the context of what they're talking to me about. And at school, I generally know, obviously it's related to school and my job and things like that. Or if I'm at the grocery store and the lady asks me a question, I know it's about my order or my groceries or food or something. They're generally not going to ask you out of the blue, so what do you think of Abe's policy of foreign, attachment with the SDF, So, listening, I think, is my most improved area of the four. And I think you too, if you come to Japan, will have your listening be vastly improved by living here. I think that's the immersion benefit number one. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. That should be about 10 minutes. Let me unhook, go over here, and I'm going to untake this. Very good. Okay, guys, happy March 1st. See you soon.